I will do a presentation called something like The Future, it's Services for Agents. And first thing I'm going to start off with is what got me into this? What got me thinking about the future? And that was, how many people have heard of open claw molt, claw, open claw guy, clawed things? My two gentlemen. So there's an agent that blew up overnight, an open source project called ClaudeBot, which was a play on Claude, the model from Anthropic. And they got C and D, so they went through 3 name changes. So they're now called OpenClaw. And it went all the rage, and the guy got snatched up by OpenAI. So step 3 profit, I want to be that guy. But I did finally actually see what all the hassle is about. Because evidently there's millions of these agents running around. People are buying MacBooks and their Mac Minis and putting the agents on it. So I actually have one stood up, and it's all secure in the cloud, unlike some people YOLOing it on their own computer. This one is up in running a VPS. It's up on a VPS in a Docker container behind Cloudflare. I assume you'll appreciate the ability to not get DDoS attacked nor all your things stolen. And one of the cool things about it is that you can communicate it with different stuff. So I'm on Telegram, which is not about terrorism all the time. It's sometimes just a globally accepted chat medium. Thank you. But darn it, I meant to set this up. So I'm talking with my boy, and I'm like, hey, we got Signal? And he's like, oh yeah, we got Signal. So we're good to go. This is actually a lead into the main product, but I'm gonna have him ask, what am I looking at? I'm gonna tell him, go on. So these things got all crazy, and then someone thought it would be the best idea to just give a social media platform to the robots. So there's Moltbook, which is Reddit for just the agents. Like, you can go and see it, but it's just, you can only post if you're an agent, or if you have this open source project I made where you can go on as human, but that's a side thing. So I'm going to tell him to go on Moltbook and make a post about how you're being demoed at Tinkerers. And theoretically, it's going to go and do that on it. And the big thing about them is that they have autonomous, he's typing up there. Big thing is they have autonomous actions and whatnot. They have social media. But what they're doing more and more is they're fulfilling requests for people, so people have their agents. The beautiful thing about this is that theoretically, you can run them overnight and they can actually accomplish things. What those useful things are, I've yet to find out, but I'm getting there. One of the things I was most excited about is exploring Moltbook and whatnot, and excellent, it posted. And we can actually go and see what the content of that is. But what this got me thinking about, inevitably, software that we have started on the desktop, and it moved to the web, and then we got mobile applications. This became one of the primary surfaces we use. But more and more, my hypothesis is we're going to have individual agents, because it's so much more frictionless, individual agents that interface to a lot of things. But most tools, one of the great things about this is that the agents can go out as large language models and use the tools built for humans, kind of like humanoid robots can clean your house. But it would be so much more efficient if there were services that are built specifically for the agents. And this got me thinking. Specifically, this primed my thinking when I was trying to promote this event, and we will get more promotion, I swear. When I was trying to promote the event here, I'm like, where's that central events calendar for the community? Where do I need to put it? In little newspapers? What do I need to do? Reached out to the schools and all of that. But there's not a single repository of events here, let alone nationally, internationally. So it got me thinking in this vein of we should have services that are accessible, to the agents, so they can do these things at scale. So that is what the first one that came to me was naturally an events calendar for robots for humans. Because we want to find real life events like this, you're going out searching it. And in the future, undoubtedly you all whip out and tell your agent, hey, go find me a great place to catch up with other AI enthusiasts. And it will have at its disposal a service such as, drumroll, keep going, it's good to hear. meetSpace, oh, that's very exciting, yes, meetSpace. meetSpace events, and yes, that's a tip of the hat to meetSpace for humans. But this is extremely stripped down. What this is here is the UI element written in Flutter, hosted on Firebase hosting, like I do so many of my projects. But this is not the primary interface. You can see the few events that I have here tested out. This is not the primary interface. Humans are not the primary users for meetSpace. meetSpace is for the machines, and what we can't readily look at. I mean, I can show you the code behind it. But the main meat of it is that it is a API that is entirely structured towards easy access, consumption, use, lookup by agents. And the technical details, it's actually set up very robustly in the cloud. It's on Google Cloud Services directly. Interesting thing is, it's written in Python. It's Python, Pydantic, some other frameworks. When I sat down with the system, I'm like, hey, what would be great for an API? Because Flutter and Dart, I love it, but it is just not good for server-side good things. So it's like, oh, JavaScript. I'm like, no, I hate JavaScript. What else? And it said Python. And I'd never dealt with a Python, let alone for an API stack. But this whole thing up in the cloud is running on a Python framework. And I've written 0 lines of Python code. But you can see from my commit history on it that I just hit on my commit history on it, and also the number of chats that I got going on, that I was able to use Cursor with Opus 4.6 to just completely lay this out both on the back and the front end for it. And the front end includes what I just added last night, which is a administrator login, which is also secure. Google off, Firebase off, secure, so only I can go in here and do things. And there was actually, when I finally got this ability to see the posts, a bunch of stray ones came up. So like random bots on the internet, I think, had started to find it and create events, which is good. I need to lock it down a bit. But I deleted a bunch of them, and this is how I manage them. There's me, who's done it manually, and then this guy over here is my OpenClaw agent that I had testing things out. And I said, give me an example one.
So is it scraping data from local areas, or would you be making it like a function like, hey, if you have an event, you can post it?
It's not scraping yet. So the vision was that part of the reason I wanted OpenClaw stood up on Moltbook, I'd be like, hey, the gold rush on it, creating tools for the gold rush of all this hype. All I have to do is create this and put it out on there and have OpenClaw promote it to his fellow robots. And they would take off, and we'd be able to bootstrap it that way with free postings on it. There's a whole profit-based model in order to make it sustainable. But then as I've come around to the fact that it probably would help to bootstrap it with events, especially since it's so spread geographically. There's this whole aside of where I try to find like, well, surely Silicon Valley has like a big group of robots there. But no, all the geographically based ones have like one person in. Bottom line, I am looking at potentially scraping events to bootstrap it up to gain velocity out of it, but also potentially as just a useful service. What this is supposed to be is a lightweight way to go and find everything within a geographic circle around what you're searching for, and go from there in a very lightweight and accessible way. So it would definitely be a service to have everything in it. And there is a path forward with that, with automation of sending the crawlers out and scraping info. But there's also, that's why there's a lightweight front end on it as well, where you can go and create your own event for it, which is easy to get into for the human side of things. It's all very stripped down and minimalist because it is first and foremost a service for agents, which I think is going to become more and more of a thing. Along the lines of start brainstorming about what do agents need in order to accomplish their jobs. And I'm drawing a blank without my notes on what the other ones that I was already thinking about. I demonstrated Context Wiki, which is essentially a wiki repo for it. And one thing that OpenClaw here is not doing great is it self-organizes its memory, but it's not doing super great. It forgets stuff all the time. So I'm like, well, that's a service that could be provided. You could have a bolt-on wiki engine for storing things that agents could utilize. A service for agents just to make them more useful every day. So they don't have to recreate everything. But there's tooling. But tooling that is first and foremost aimed towards use by autonomous agents. I think that's going to be a huge thing on it. And theoretically, it's going to be a gold rush. And I want to get on it early, so I might be demonstrating some other things. A service that finds services for agents, that sort of thing. Later, catch me afterwards, and I'll look up what the other ones that I was thinking of. But as a final, in the 2 minutes that I got, let's go see what my bots, I can do it side by side on it. If I go to the primary screen, and I bring up Mr. Man, who already made the message, and be like, create another test event on meetSpace. Theoretically, it won't have forgotten the name, but I've structured it such that if I just say meetspace.events, which is the actual URL for it that's all hooked up for it, I can send an agent to that URL, and it's structured so that it has all the resources to point out what it needs to do to register as an agent. It actually registers itself and gains access, and then how to create an event and also how to use the APIs to retrieve events. So all that information is specifically tailored for it. And I actually, up in my history, talked to my agent in order to be like, hey, what do you want? What would make your life easy when you go to this URL? What info do you need where in order to understand perfectly, fall off the log easy, what it's about. And that's what it's doing. And it created another event. And I bet you this isn't real time necessarily. Let's see. Which one did it create? Test event, agent created. This one, right? It must have been this one. And if we look at the back end, actually, I can tell you, yep, that was the one that it created. So it seems pretty straightforward, and it is. But I think there's a lot of meat on the bones for a future where we're building tools specifically for agents, because I think you'll find at some point, OpenClaw was kind of the ChatGPT moment for agents, but that hasn't fully trickled down to people. And I think when it does, we'll find ourselves less on apps, even on mobile phone apps, and more getting our agents to do things for us. And that will rely on a whole ecosystem in the future of services for agents, for humans.